Hello everybody, this is Gareth Cahoon Speaks back here with another video. I'd like you to hit the subscribe bar, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, or hit the notification bell to be notified when I post my next post. Or otherwise you could donate to my ministry and the charities that I support at garethcahoon3@gmail.com on PayPal. Or else you could look me up on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, and my other social media accounts too. But specifically for YouTube, if you go to YouTube and like and subscribe there, you'll see the content that gets banned elsewhere, and you'll also be able to see my created playlists, the videos that I watch when I'm not posting on here myself. This one here is part 7 of the Real People of the New Covenant series. Patronesses of Galilee, Yohana, Miryam of Magdala, and the woman who followed Yeshua. Part 7. This article is part of the Real People of the New Covenant Lives Behind the Names, a series by All Israel News that contextualizes the historical figures of the biblical narrative, exploring the historicity and the archaeology of the land and what it offers, an objective framework for reading the text, grounding distant figures within their concrete environment. As the Gospels move from crowds and councils to small circles with travel with Yeshua, Jesus, another group quietly anchors his journey. The woman who walked alongside him and helped sustain his ministry beyond the fishing cooperatives of the lake and the toll gates around Capharnaum. Women accompany him across towns and villages, crossing social boundaries and redirecting their resources towards a ministry that has no stable institution or fixed address in the region known in Hebrew as Galilee, the district of the circuit, a landscape already marked by mixed populations and shifting loyalties. The women's presence adds another quieter layer to Yeshua's ministry. Women on the road from Galilee households to itinerant discipleship. Luke briefly sketches their presence after describing Yeshua travelling from one town and village to another. Proclaiming the kingdom, he adds that the 12 were with him and also some women. Miryam of Magdala, from whom 7 demons had come out. Joanna, the wife of Chusa, the manager of Herod's household. Susanna and many others. These women were helping to support them out of their own means. Luke chapter 8 verses 1 to 3. The verb Luke used for their support, diakonia, emphasizes practical, active service rather than passive charity. These women therefore appear not only as financial donors but as active participants, disciples whose healing and experience become part of the traveling network sustaining Yeshua and the 12 disciples, or Talmudim. Socially, their decision to accompany an itinerant teacher through towns and villages pushed against expectations that respectable women remain anchored to fixed households and kinship structures. Studies of Luke chapter 8 verses 1 to 3 describe this passage as a summary scene of discipleship, highlighting how these women integrate healing, following, and financial support. Yohana, a patroness from Herod's court. Among these women, Johanna stands out because Luke identifies her by her husband's position. Joanna, the wife of Susa, Herod's household manager. Luke chapter 8 verse 3. Behind the Greek for Iona lies a Hebrew feminine form of Yochanan, Yahweh has been gracious, a fitting name for a woman whose life and resources became a conduit of grace. The Greek term used for Susa's role, epipotros, designates a steward or household manager tasked with overseeing her at Antipas estates, domestic administration, and financial interests. Yohana's presence in Yeshua's circle, therefore, representing a striking convergence of worlds as the wife of Herodian steward. She lived at the intersection of political power and domestic management in Galilee, with direct exposure to the court that ordered the death of Yochanan, John the Baptist. Luke noted that she had been healed by Yeshua and that following this healing, she began to travel with him and support his ministry from her own resources. In economic terms, she was redirecting wealth that ultimately flowed from Herodian's administration toward a work that announced another kingdom, an act of patronage that carried both practical and symbolic weight, in line with broader research on Jewish women in the Second Temple history. Yohana reappears later as one of the women who encounter the empty tomb and report the resurrection to the apostles. Luke 24, verse 10. Thus, her personal trajectory spans from the corridors of Herodian power to bearing quiet witness to the resurrection. Miryam of Magdala, patronage from a coastal town. Luke places Miryam of Magdala at the head of his list of women, describing her as Mary called Magdalena, from whom 7 demons had been cast out. Luke chapter 8, verse 2. Her name Miryam shared with the prophetess sister of Moshe, as well as the mother of Yeshua, carries in Jewish tradition resonance of bitterness, mar, resistance, miri, and in some readings, belovedness, a layering of meaning that suits a whole woman whose story moves through affliction, courage, and love. Her designation of Magdala anchors her in a specific town in the western shore of the lake, a settlement known in ancient sources for its fishing industry and the processing of salted fish. Agricultural work at Magdala has uncovered a first century synagogue, villas, a marketplace, and port installations, indicating a prosperous coastal community where commercial activity could generate independent means, including for women associated with prominent households. Additional surveys describe Magdala, often linked with the American Magdala or Tower, as a prominent fishing centre with ritual baths and storage facilities, reinforcing the picture of a town whose economy could sustain patrons. Later, Luke later notes that Miryam of Magdala is among the women who remain near the crucifixion and who come to the tomb with spices, encountering the angelic announcement of the resurrection. Luke 24, verse 10. Across those scenes, she appeared as a healed woman who becomes a persistent present figure at critical junctures, supporting Yeshua and his 12 disciples materially, remaining with many others withdrawn and carrying news of an empty tomb back to the male disciples, as underlined by studies of women as first witnesses in Luke's passion and resurrection narratives. Come back for part 2 of this post in the next video. Shalom, Maranatha, and Hallelujah.